Hey everybody, it's Matt Powers. I'm a gardener, seed saver, family guy, author, educator, and I teach people all over the world how to partner with nature, how to live more abundantly. Today I'm talking about gardening without fences. I garden in an area just below Yosemite National Park where we had all this wildlife, like crazy amounts of wildlife. We had tons of deer, we had gophers like you wouldn't, it's like the whole land was Swiss cheese. We had tons of ants would take over houses, over trailers. We had a lot of rabbits that would chew things down. We had bobcats that would eat our chickens. We had mountain lions that would stalk our children. We had the wildlife. And people in our area said you could not garden without a giant fence. But, clearly I figured this out because in my garden, my 2 acres of garden in Coarse Gold, California, my original gardens, people were like, oh, they're gonna eat your fruit. They didn't eat my fruit. People are like, oh, they're gonna eat your lettuce, they didn't eat that. When I started and had a fence and did the whole gopher wire cages around everything, then they got eaten. But basically my theory is that all those things attract them because they're so unnatural, they're so obvious in the landscape that they're attractants. So the metal cages underneath in the soil surface, they put out a smell that is like so clear. There's something going on there and they know exactly where to go. But when you rip out all your fences, when you take out your gopher wire and you have polycultures and not a monoculture, because if you just put a row of those potatoes, and I know this from experience, and you just, you plant your potatoes in your nice little row, one day is all it takes, and the gopher will eat the whole row. And they'll leave like pieces of potato for you to look at, sadly. But that's what happens. But when it's actually spread out among everything, then they don't find it. They may hit 1, maybe 2 out of your 30 plants, and not all 30 in one day. So incredible things can happen when you understand permaculture. So when you do polycultures, when you put things on contour, whether you're planting on contour, whether you're ripping on contour, whether you're doing swales on contour, contour creates this straightness, this flatness, this unnatural corridors, and it freaks the deer out. What we devised with my system was a living fence. And I'll show you pictures right here. When I did living fences in my California gardens, I started off with things that were analogous to things that were actually growing in the environment that weren't eaten. So I noticed lamb's quarter was not eaten by the deer, but my lettuce was eaten by the deer when they got into my systems. So what I did was on the edges, I planted a relative of lamb's quarter, strawberry spinach, and it was edible. It lasted through the summer. The leaves didn't, become all floppy in August. It allowed me to have my spinach all summer. It wasn't eaten by the deer unless they were super desperate because it's lamb's quarter to them. It's what it smells like. And I used it all on my edges and it spread on its own. It's a self-seeder. So I did that, and then I did amaranth, and it's tall, it's edible, but it regrows so fast that the deer will eat it, but then it'll regrow. And then the leaves are edible. So the whole thing's awesome. It's edible, it regrows, gets really tall, really big. And then behind that, and mixed somewhat in with that, I did sorghum. So this Mennonite sorghum's great, it's multi-purpose, but it's also inedible, the greens are, for the deer, it's inedible. And so they don't want to eat that. And so they see food, they see stuff that's familiar, there's something like cousin of pigweed and then a cousin of the lamb's quarter. They're like, yeah, I could eat this stuff, and then and then this stuff behind it, this wall of green that I throw sowed all of it, I broadcast it so it was super easy to install. They're like, yeah, I'm not gonna bother going through there. And it doesn't feel good or sound good. I mean, when you pass through sorghum, it's like saws you somewhat. So they just stayed out of my system because at the entrances, it was like flat like an airport in my swales, because it created these corridors where they couldn't see anything. And as you know, deer like to see things. So I didn't grow with fences. And once I got to that place, it was amazing. It was easy. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I need this. I need to do the double fence to stop the deer. And yes, I did have a dog. And yes, I let that dog out, you know, at night and kept him out for a period of time at night. But once the systems are established, they don't go in it. When it's all taken down and you're establishing, you might need to cover things up. You might need to protect things. But if it's all coming up so vigorous, if you broadcast it like I did, you installed it all, you might lose things here and there. But the net result is that it's an overall successful system. And that's what I did. So I didn't have any temporary fences, didn't have the double fence. I simply used seeds and a rice knife, and I managed 2 acres of garden. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here in Washington. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be another one of my Fukuokian, gardens, my natural permaculture gardens, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's this hill really right around the house. We're going to create this Zone 1 garden. It's got a lot of these brambles going on. I'm taking it all down right now with permaculture tools, with rice knives from Daniel Lawton, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I'm going to transform this site. So stay tuned, and if you haven't checked out the Kickstarter, head on over there right now. The Advanced Permaculture Student Online is kickstarting right now, and we need everyone to join this course. It's unbelievable. You're not going to believe it. Just go check it out. You'll be incredibly surprised. If you want to homestead like a pro, or if you want to make permaculture, regeneration, healing the earth your business, this is for you. Grow abundantly, learn daily, and live regeneratively. I'm Matt Powers. Thank you, guys.